guys are in for a treat. He is the one and only Joey Fatone!
Hello. Hello, Heather.
How's it going?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Good. Of course, I have to admire your t-shirt. You look amazing in the Care Bear shirt.
Hey, prepare to care people and stare. That's what you say, right?
Okay, so Joey Fatone, recently though, I've seen you almost rebranded as, is it Joey Calzone? Is that the new...
Yes, there was a time, a moment that I did something for Schlotsky's where it was a calzone, yes. People go, oh, Joey Fatone needed the money. No, it's funny. And people were just hysterical about it. We did this whole kind of campaign thing where it was, me talking about calzones and everything is calzone. So it's like global domination with calzones.
What is the ultimate Joey Fatone calzone? Like, what do you put on a calzone?
Oh, you know, everything. Pepperoni, salami, cheese. Typical stuff.
Great choices.
I don't know, look at me. I ate everything. What are you talking about?
And now I'm just hungry. Okay, so I wanted to talk about recently, you and a couple of your fellow band members reunited at Alexa Bliss's wedding, and you guys got to perform. What was that like?
Ain't that random, right?
It is so fun.
Yeah, I mean, Alexa Bliss, of course, she's a WWE wrestler, but also my buddy Ryan Cabrera, a good friend of mine, got married. They both got married. And it was an interesting wedding. It was like pop stars and then people of the 90s and then wrestlers combined. I don't know, it was Freddie Prinze Jr., Seth Green, and Mojo. It was one of those things that's so odd. It was so much fun. And of course, Ryan's always been a good friend of mine, but he's always been a big fan of like the music of NSYNC. So of course, the three of us were there and he looked at me and goes, oh, you're doing it. Oh, God. And I was like, Ryan, you serious? Like, oh yeah, it's happening. So he called us up on stage and Lance had a kilt on and it was fun.
Yeah. No kilt for you though, are you not a...
No, I would have. I mean, I like kilts. That's cool. It's airy. Feel good, you know?
Of course, the reasons why kilts are made.
That's right, you know?
And okay, I also wanted to talk about, you've recently also like reunited with a couple other band members from Backstreet Boys, Boys to Men. You guys have been doing these shows.
Yeah, we did a show called, it was an after party. We came up with this idea. Everything's always after party. Practical Jokers have a show, it's called the Practical Jokers After Party. I guess I'm the life of the after party is what I do. Hence the scratchy voice right now. Yeah, one person, thanks, appreciate that. You saw me last night, didn't you? Great. Sorry.
He was one of the grapes, we don't know.
No, another grapes, that was hilarious, oh my gosh. I gotta stop drinking or drink more. But it's fun to do stuff like that. I kind of came up with this concept where it's almost like a Rat Pack idea back in the day with Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin. All those people would come up on stage in Vegas and just sing and come up and be friends, just do things like that. So I came up with a show called After Party. We did a four nights in Vegas. It was myself, Wanya Morris from Boys to Men, Nick Carter from Backstreet Boys, and AJ from Backstreet. And we had other celebrity guests that we didn't even announce. We just said, hey, we're doing this show, and each of us sang each other's songs. So it was the coolest thing I've ever done in my life, and it's funny because I look up to Wanya Morris and watching him sing, I Want It That Way and Pop. And you go, this is freaking cool, And we're all fans. Even like my friend Fonzie, Luis Fonzie, who sings Despacito, he came out and performed. But we grew up together, singing together. And it was just funny watching Wanya sing, like I said, sing those songs. And then we had Ray Parker Jr. come out and sing Ghostbusters. We had Bobby Brown come out and do My Prerogative. We had Coolio come out and do Gangsta's Paradise. So you never know what's going to happen in the show, really. And that's kind of what we did. And now we've been doing a couple of private events, and hopefully we can do a lot more of these shows, when we can. But of course, you got Backstreet that's back. No, they're not. They never left, but they're on tour now. But same thing with Boys to Men. NSYNC, we ain't doing crap. So that's why I did it, though. And that's kind of why I did that show, and then also leading into another show called Joey Fatone and Friends. Similar concept, but this time it's like, because a lot of my artist friends, they come out and they just perform their music. So we're doing that actually in August for the Food and Wine Festival at the Eat and Beat at Epcot in August. Yeah, we did it before the pandemic, now we're doing it again, so it's exciting. And I'll have people like Chris Kirkpatrick will come out, Ryan will come out. I had, if anybody knows, I'm sure not many of you do know, a group called Third Base. There's a rapper by the name of MC Search. He does Pop Goes Weasel, one guy, thank you very much, was born in probably the 70s, appreciate you. Those were, 80s, 90s, around the music there. But yeah, it's been fun, it's been a blast. So it's really cool to be able to do something completely outside the box and something different. And these other artists kind of get it. So like for New Year's, it's random again. We did one in New Year's in Vegas where it was myself, Wani Morris, Sean Stock from Boys to Men, a friend of mine, Danny, who's a local singer in Orlando. I brought her out, but also, yeah, you know who she is. And then I also brought Dee Schneider out, and he sang "We're Not Gonna Take It." It was awesome. So it's this random stuff that you would never see before. That's just kind of this kind of group of people. It's fun.
It's pretty cool because obviously, like growing up on NSYNC and Backstreet, I mean, I prefer the 5-part harmony, of course.
Right. Thank you.
It's very surreal to see you guys all working together. It's almost like a dream.
Yeah, it's like taboo. You don't sing with a Backstreet Boy. One of the guys from NSYNC doesn't sing "I Want It That Way." You're out of your mind, and they're like, "You are," you know. It's funny.
Because it's like we are almost like set up to think like you're mortal enemies.
Yeah.
And now here you are like.
Well, I hate all of them. It happens. Nick's the worst. No, it's funny because as we gotten older and just started talking to each other, and then Nick came up with this idea, and that's why we did Dead Seven, this film that was an Oscar-worthy smash. But it was fun to do. But it was like this, yeah, on Sci-Fi. Everybody thought it was fake because it actually came out on April Fools. So when people saw the trailer, they're like, "This is a joke." But it's like, yes, it's a joke, but it's real. We shot it. It's zombies and boy bands. I mean, what better way to have fun with zombies and boy bands? Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Well, speaking of supergroups, another thing that you got to be part of was, in my humble opinion, the greatest Super Bowl halftime show of all time, which was you guys, Aerosmith, Britney, was it Kid
Britney,
Rock,
it was
Mary J?
Britney, Mary J, Nelly, yeah, and Aerosmith and us, yeah. It was fun, it was a blast. It was one of the first times I think MTV ever did the Super Bowl. And actually it was one of the first times they really had fans, not people that were working, but fans run out on the field and had this whole thing. And then all of a sudden, every year you see fans on the field now running out. But it was one of those cool moments and one of those surreal moments where you're like, dude, I'm standing next to Steven Tyler. We're singing Walk This Way. What am I doing here? That's basically what I thought, you know. It's like, it's weird. It's surreal, but it's also, you know, it's one of those things where it's fun and you go, listen, you know, ride the ride, enjoy it, you know. It's that this stuff doesn't last forever, you know, and I think some artists think that they last forever. They don't. But it's just one of those things where, you know, you embrace it, have fun with it. Like, again, life is too damn short.
But it's also like you especially have had the ability to keep like reinventing yourself like time and time again, and I think that's so admirable.
Yeah, so far I didn't suck at anything. I'm not the greatest. I'm not great at one thing. I'm just good at everything else. It's like sprinkled around. You know, we throw something on the wall and go, let's do that. You know, I did a food truck. I have a hot dog food truck.
It's so good.
Fat one. So again, shameless plug, people. It's only in Orlando though. Sorry.
Well, my Super Bowl question was actually going to be, if you could put together like your dream halftime show, who would be part of it?
Wow. Dead or alive though.
Let's not go back.
I mean,
to
I
the
bring back the
zombies.
Beatles or something like that. That'd be cool as hell to do it with them. I mean, come on. You know, it's tough because there's so many artists that I admire, and I think to put the completely different groups that you would never really be associated with, I think, and that's the fun part, like Aerosmith and us. You know, you get something like Dr. Dre or Eminem with NSYNC, and then you pull in like, you know, I don't even know, like Stone Temple Pilots. You bring people out like that, you know, completely different, where you get maybe Scott Stapp from Creed, and then you get, you know, O-Town. It's just something completely that just doesn't fit. That's what makes it fun. You know, and then sometimes those things work and sometimes they don't. But you try to figure out what's really gonna work. And I think for me, like I said, I just think outside the box and have fun with that.
Shout out to O-Town.
Right? My peeps, my dudes.
Well, let's talk about the other after party, like you mentioned before, the Impractical Jokers. I know the season just wrapped.
Season just wrapped. We shot that. We did a couple episodes. They wrapped season 9. They're going to be shooting season 10 coming up. It was actually kind of fun. After the final episode of what we shot, they brought out a check. I'm like, "What? You give me money?" I'm like, "Sweet." They're like, "No, it's redeemable for one episode of Impractical Jokers for season 10." So my dumb butt is doing a full episode, which means I can get punished, which they've never done before for a celebrity or anybody like that. So yeah, no, it's not gonna be fun. I swear, I'm not kidding you. After they told me, the next night I was sleeping, and meanwhile, it's not going to happen for maybe a couple of months, but I'm thinking to myself, what are they going to do? It's going to be something stupid. I'm going to be embarrassed, and I'm going to just be, I don't know what. I got nervous thinking about it, even though it's not until like July or way later on. But it's going to be interesting, because we obviously, I shoot a whole episode, so I'm shooting all the different, you know, little scene things, and then hopefully if I get punished, I'm going to get something stupid. It's gonna be around probably NSYNC of some sort of embarrassment, I'm sure.
Well, I was gonna ask, like, for your ultimate punishment, would it be more punishing to have something like physical happen or like emotional and mental?
I think they're gonna try to do everything possible because it's the only time they're gonna have a chance. So,
Say that now. But...
yeah, I'm nervous. Like I told you, I don't know how long. Who knows how long they're gonna do the punishment? That's the other thing. We don't know. They've had times where they've had people do stuff for 24 hours. So hopefully, I didn't just put anything in their heads. Oh, I hope it's just nice and we just hang out and have tea.
All right, so before we go to questions from the audience, I know this is something we've talked about before, but I just have to mention how much I admire your work for Broadway, especially Little Shop and Rent. And I want to know if that's something that you could see in your future again, and if there's a dream role.
I would love to. It's always stinks because when you see a show and you're like, darn it, I wish I created that role in that sense. Because they do this whole workshop. It takes sometimes months, sometimes years to really get a Broadway show up and running. The one I just saw prior to pandemic, which I told Alex Brightman, I want your job after you're done. And when the pandemic hit, I didn't think he was gonna come back, and he came back, which is good, but it's Beetlejuice. He did the musical Beetlejuice, which is awesome if you've never seen it. It looks it's a lot of work. He's all over the place, so I think it would be a fun challenge for me to do. And plus, Alex is really short, so I'd be a ginormous Beetlejuice, which would make it that much interesting, and the dynamic I think would be kind of interesting.
Lydia now is pretty tall too.
Oh, is she?
She's a tall Lydia, but you know, they're going on tour in I think in September it starts.
Oh,
Joey.
good for them.
No, I don't think it's been cast yet.
Oh, is it? Oh, Lord, I hate tours. Just kidding. It'd be fun. No, that'd be a blast. I think it'd be a lot of fun to do. That'd be interesting. I'll have to talk to Telsey Casting about that.
Yeah, let's put it out there in the universe. I would love to see it.
Yeah, if you've never seen the show, go see it if you get to New York. It's great, it's funny. They curse, so sorry, kids.
They can cover their ears.
Yep.
All right, Joey, so there's actually a microphone that is right over there. Whatever questions you guys may have for Joey, now is your opportunity to ask.
Bueller.
Everything.
Bueller. Fry. Simone. Nope, nobody. Frisbee was the off people. Anyone? Thank you. 4 people. Woo! Where's my old people at? Woo! Yeah! Thank you.
Right here. I'm one of those old people.
Hell yeah.
My name's Amy, and I grew up listening to your music. You know, you and the guys, your voices, your faces were a fixture of my adolescence. And so I want to thank you for all of it. No, I loved it. It was awesome, and I torture my family still sometimes, you know, by playing my old music. But then I loved when I got to see you, like your face popping up on screen, especially. And the very first time I had that happen, it wound up being one of my favorite movies. And so I have a very important question for you to see if you remember this. But I wondered if you could teach me how to say, hey guys, let's go in the house in Greek.
Echotria hidia. Just say it to everyone.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Love your
Funny story about that too is we were trying to figure out a phrase to say, and we were all saying these horrible phrases you should never hear. But the translation is what's the funny part. And for them, you know, Nia and them are all Greek and they speak Greek, and I'm Italian, I don't speak Greek. So we were like, you know, saying the dirtiest things, but for some reason I think it was John who came up saying I have 3 testicles, and then someone said echotri. When they translated, we're like, that just sounds funny, it sounds good. Use that. So that's the nice thing about Nia, when you're the writers, you can sit there and go, okay, you know, this ain't happening, let's change this. And what's exciting is we're shooting My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, June and July this year. Oh! So we'll be, I believe, in Greece and trying to actually making it happen. Sad to say, Michael Constantine was the father, he passed away, so she had to rewrite everything because a lot of it, I think, was based around him, so they're trying to figure out what to do, and then they finally got the script. We're going to be probably shooting in Greece in June, July, so it should be interesting. It should be a lot of fun. Yeah. I'm like, what? Greece? Hell yeah. Yeah. Sign me up.
Oh, well, hi, I'm Katie, and I'm Greek Orthodox, so in Greek, you know.
Wonderful.
You can see where this question is going. But I was wondering, being Italian, how'd you get involved with My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Well, you know, Italians are very close in that Mediterranean area a little bit. We all kind of look similar. We all have the kind of the schnozzes and stuff, so that's kind of where... It's weird. I always play like I'm either Jewish, I don't think I've ever played Italian yet, Jewish or Greek. Mark was Jewish in Rent on Broadway. Pretty much, pretty sure. Scarsdale Jewish Community Center is coming back. And I believe Little Shop, he's Jewish too. Seymour. I don't know. He looks it. Forget it. He's Jewish. We'll say he is. That's all I've been playing. It's kind of weird. I don't know. It's just odd. But yeah, the weirdest thing how that came about though to be in My Big Fat Greek Wedding is we knew the company Fatone, which is Tom Hanks's company. And him and his partner in that is this guy named Gary Getzman. And we actually, during the time of NSYNC, were trying to think of a movie. And Tom wanted to do something like that thing you do that he did, but almost like a help from the Beatles. But it was with NSYNC. So we pitched ideas, he couldn't agree upon it. We went back and forth, but we never did anything. It was not no will ill or anything, it was just we couldn't agree upon what the idea was. So one day I walked in the office just to say hi. And this woman, Wendy, who does the I guess, wrangles the young kids for different movies and stuff like that. She's like in the child department to do stuff, even though I wasn't a child at the time, I was in my 20s. But she goes, oh my gosh, they're doing auditions for this movie called My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I know you're shooting stuff with, you're recording the album with NSYNC, but if you happen to get something like this, it's small, it's not a big part, and it's an independent film. I mean, who's gonna really see it? That kind of thing. And I was like, all right, but where's the audition? They go, right here, here's the signs, and she's actually auditioning right now. So Nia was in there, and so was the casting lady. Wow. I guess Nia knew kind of who I was, but the casting lady didn't. So going there and all of a sudden walking in, they're like, who's this stupid little boy band guy trying to freaking act? It's gonna be like Glitter with Mariah Carey or something like that. I said that out loud. But it was one of those things where I never knew my background of what I did before I did singing. So it was more of Shakespearean plays, musical theaters, one-act plays, Grapes of Wrath, that kind of stuff. I was more into the drama than I was even more comedy. So doing that, learned the sides, went in, auditioned. I was like, all right, cool, thanks. I was like, I'm not getting this. And I walked out. They called me back 2 days later and said, oh, we love what you did. You kind of fit, obviously, the look of what everybody kind of looks like, and we'll do it. And I was like, great. I'm like, what did I get myself into? Like, it was cool. I was like, okay, I'm becoming a part of this film. Tom Hanks' production company's doing it. Rita Wilson's the one that kind of scooped up this, saw the idea with Nia Vardalos. And it was just weird because the minute I sat down, because I was, like I said, recording, so I didn't get a chance to really spend time with the cast on that, especially specifically the first one. And when I sat down, literally Joel Zwick, who's the director, goes, all right, that's your mother, that's your father, that's your aunt, that's your uncle, that's your sister. You ready to shoot this? You know the sign? Yep, I got it, let's go. And that was pretty much it. And I'm like, oh my God, Andrea Martin, I freaking love you, you're awesome. Holy cow. Lady Kazan, yes, I know you, oh my goodness. So it was really weird and surreal for me in that moment to where Andrea Martin's playing my mother. Kind of weird, which is weird too, but she looks like my Aunt Phyllis, actually. She looks like she'd be part of my family. So yeah, it's pretty amazing how, and again, how I guess Italians are very, very similar to Greeks, where every time you watch My Big Fat Greek Wedding, anybody of any ethnicity or culture can kind of relate, because we always have, the wacky uncle or family, and the people that have the weird superstitious stuff, not necessarily Windex, but they have interesting things like that, so yeah.
Awesome, thank you so much.
No problem.
I have to know, when you auditioned, were you still rocking the red hair, or what?
What did I have? No, I think I had normal hair at that time, thank goodness. There was a normal hair phase. I think I was growing up. I didn't look like Ronald McDonald, or I don't know what the hell I looked like in other ones. On the line, I had a calico cat hair.
Oh, God.
It was like multicolored.
Oh, my. Yeah.
I didn't do that, I swear. I didn't even say that's a good idea. The red was my idea, which is a stupid idea, but anyway. It was fun. I mean, again, the phase. If you saw me do that now, people go, oh, Guy Fieri? No. Should do that.
What's your name?
Hey,
Brandon.
Hey, Brandon. Hey, Joey. Sorry, I'm Brandon.
I know you were, brother.
Yeah, thanks, man. So I did some calculations, being the giant, crazy NSYNC fan that I am, and went through each album and each set list from the major tours,
Right.
minus the Christmas album.
Please.
Do you have a favorite NSYNC song that was never on the set list and tour? There's 4 of them.
You're gonna try to stump me on this, you son of a gun.
No, I'm not stopping you, I'm giving you options.
Give me options, I love it.
Okay, so you have Everything I Own from
Yep.
the first NSYNC album.
Correct.
Bring in the Noise, and That's When I'll Stop Loving You from No Strings Attached, and then finally Just Don't Tell Me That from Celebrity. Which of those 4, or all of those 4, went
No, we did Just Don't Tell Me That on tour.
I thought you did Tell Me Baby.
Is that the same song?
No, it's not.
What year did I do that in?
That was Celebrity Tour 2002.
Oh, you stop. You know everything. I don't. Well, I know. I don't think That's When I'll Stop Loving You we did.
No, not at all.
We didn't do that. So what were the other ones?
Bring in the Noise and Everything I
We didn't do Bring in the Noise.
Yeah, everything I own.
We sang Everything I Own probably one time. I'm not sure,
Yeah,
possibly.
there's no recorded evidence of any of those songs. So,
You know more than me, Brandon. I need to have you around more often, buddy.
I'm here.
What was the other one? What was the other songs though? That we didn't though. Were those it?
Those were the only other
Those are the
songs
only
I
ones.
could find where they did have recorded evidence, just not on tour.
Because I even think we did I
Like,
Need Love and a Riddle. I think we even did.
Yeah, you did those, but like
Those
You
are
Drive Me-
horrible, by the way.
Yeah.
Go listen to it.
But like You Drive Me Crazy, which I love. I love You Drive Me Crazy.
The one, the Tony Couture one. You drive
Yeah,
me
yeah,
crazy.
exactly.
Yeah, I don't think we ever did that. You know what?
You did
We,
it. You
we
did
did
it
it
on-
live, but not on tour.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't. You're not stumping me, Brandon, this time.
No, that's what I'm saying. You did it live, but not on tour.
Okay, I'm just making sure. All right.
No, I'm not.
Throw it out. What else you got at me? Now I'm freaking curious, Brandon.
No, that's it. But
No other question?
What was the story behind You Drive Me Crazy?
The story behind it? Well, we want to do a video. We didn't know this is so politically incorrect. I'm going to hell for this. Obviously, my last name's Fat One anyway, so I make fun of myself. But which one? I'm sorry. Drive Myself Crazy, Tony Couture, or the video Drive Myself Crazy in the Insane Asylum?
No. I'm talking about You Drive Me Crazy, the video where you guys meet Johnny Wright for the first
Yes, that video came about. It was a concept, and it was a European video that we shot. It was
Yeah,
the
because
song
it was never released in the U.S. officially
Nope.
until it came up on Spotify like a few years ago or so.
You know more than I do, Brandon. Thank you. But yeah, the video was actually kind of fun because what it was showing how other bands or other groups are emulating other bands and other groups when you should just be yourself. Make it your own style. So you see us dressed as rockers, then you see us dressed as the Spice Girls. Yes, we did. We're in dresses. Then you see us dressed like what else were we? Like hip
Jackson
hop
5.
rappers and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Jackson 5 we actually did as well.
Yeah.
So really at the ending of the video, it was just be yourself and just be us and perform. That's
Yeah.
where we got our record deal.
I love that song.
Thank
That's
you.
one of my favorite, like, kind of deeper cuts. I know it was released as a single in Europe, but
Is that the deepest cut? What's the deepest cut? Do you know?
probably That's When I'll Stop. That's what I love that Diane Warren record. So.
Yeah, no, she's not. Come in. Diane Warren's
It's
amazing.
and especially That's When I Stop Loving You, like that high.
That's
note.
Chris. That ain't me.
Yeah, I know. I just love that part of the
You guys, you should see how he gets that high.
I love everything.
I appreciate it, Brandon. Thanks, brother.
Hey, Brandon. Like my favorite episode of Common Knowledge ever. I mean,
Damn, it's gonna freaking stump me. I got nervous there, Brandon.
irresponsible choice.
But I love it. No, I love the challenge.
Hello.
Hello.
My favorite song is This I Promise You. What was the story behind the music video?
This I promise you. Oh gosh, what was the video? It was the flashback of the army guy. Is that what we're doing? No. Yeah, this is I promise you, right?
It was in 2000.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember the video.
You're in
Oh, that was such a stupid video. Cool video shot. It looked fake, but it was real. We were in the forest. We were in the redwood forest, and I don't know the concept. I'm gonna be honest with you. Brandon, you want to elaborate on that? Get up there for a second. No, Brandon, get up there, dude. Tell me about the video.
So part of it is like the great shot is in front of trees, and then there's also scenes I think with you and the guys with like girls sitting at a table in like the harbor or something.
Yeah, but why?
I don't know, the director's idea. I don't know.
Oh, Brandon, I thought you knew everything, Brandon.
Come on, man.
No, I'm busting your chops. No, it was one of those concepts, I think, where it was almost like we were watching people and people just enjoying life. And I think that's what it really was. It was little vignettes of stories of different people and relationships, old, young, all that kind of stuff. And even when we did for the Grammys, we did the song I Promise You, and it was all in black and white. But when the spotlight hit Justin on the beginning, if you watched it, he was in color. It was actually kind of cool the way they did it. It was interesting, and you don't really notice it. And then when the lights get everybody's like all, I think, posed in different positions. And like I said, it was an elder couple. It was like first boy and a girl, going on their first date kind of thing, and young kids playing. It's like the innocence of love and what that was kind of about, I believe. So yeah. See, you didn't stump me. Very soft. Put off.
What's your name?
My name's Emily.
Hi, Emily.
Hi.
Are you like Princess Peach? I can only see the crown. Sorry, it's dark.
I am Dr. Venture's girlfriend.
Beautiful. All right, thank you. All I saw was a crown. I couldn't see anything else. Thank you.
So my question is, how did
did you get involved with the Impractical Jokers? I'm a big fan of you and of them.
I lost a bet. No, the crazy thing of how I met them was Sal and Q had a podcast called What Say You?
Yeah.
And they would talk about just topics and things like that. So they started to talk about Superman symbols because Q has one on his arm. So then it went from, Q has one, and celebrity, Shaquille O'Neal has one, Bon Jovi has one, Joey Fatone has one. So then Sal went off in this whole thing about how we loved NSYNC and knew like every song. And I'm listening to the podcast because people were reaching out to me going, you gotta hear the guys are talking about you. And I was a fan of the show just as it was starting season 1.
Right.
So I messaged on Twitter, as we do, who's talking about me? And I tagged Sal and I tagged Q. Sal reaches out. Yeah, man, blah, blah, blah. So we reach in DMs and we started talking back and forth. And he's like, hey, I know you're from New York. You live here. You tell me, no, I live in Florida, but I'm coming out for Thanksgiving. He's like, well, why don't you come? We're shooting an episode. Or probably around that time, so maybe you want to come out. Like nonchalant, he said it like I thought he was BSing me. So I was like, yeah, okay, whatever, sure, no problem. Well, then we kept talking, and I was in New York, and he finally was like, hey, we're shooting at the Carnegie Deli in New York City. Come by. I was like, all right. I brought my daughter. She was, what was she, 8 or 9, maybe a little older. But she loved the show, except they covered her ears on certain things. But she loves the show, so now we're sitting there, we're standing at the Carnegie Deli, watching the screen and watching them do it. And then Q comes up to me and goes, you want to go in for me? And I went, you really serious? He's like, yeah. I was like, let's do it. You can even see it. My head I had a hat, so I had hat hair. And he's like, you just gotta take off the hat. I was like, okay, but I'm like, I didn't even do it. Okay. So went and did it, and people loved it. I guess the reaction when they aired it, and then we started doing some more stuff. And like the funny thing was, is Q cracked or bruised one of his ribs during his the finale episode that they were doing with Nitro Circus.
Yeah.
They were practicing on ATVs, and he fell. So he called me up, he sent me the video. I'm like, dude, that's brutal. He's like, yeah, man. I'm like, yeah, dude. I said, you know what? I'll go in for you again. Ha ha ha, as a joke. He goes, hold on a second, that's not a bad idea. Literally hung up the phone right there, called me back 5 minutes later. He goes, True TV and everybody wants you to do it. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, you'll go in for me and we'll be blessed, it'll be great. So lo and behold, here I am in a freaking pajama outfit running around with a helmet over scoop ski potatoes and throwing myself over a wall. It was ridiculous, but it was so much fun. And then a show came out of that, which was the after party, Impractical Jokers after party. So it's kind of a wrap-up show that when they watch the episode, we talk about that episode. So it's more getting towards more of a kind of a podcast feel now. These last couple of episodes, which were really fun. Hopefully we'll get a chance to do it again. If not, then I'm sure I'll beg and I'll say, hey, let me be on your show. I love you guys. But yeah, at the final episode, they handed me, like I said, a check to where I get to do a full episode, which is weird. So now I possibly get punished. So again, I'm still having nightmares. Did I answer any of your question?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Thank
So
you.
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes I go on tantrums and I'll talk to somebody. Shut up. It's okay.
What's your name?
Hello.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Pelicathile, and what's your favorite NSYNC story?
NSYNC story? There's too many of them. One of the ones that for me, it's one of those ones where you're kind of like, oh, two. I'm like, oh crap, that's surreal, but cool. We were rehearsing for the Grammys actually in a bathroom in our dressing room because it has good acoustics. It's, it has the echo and carries out. So we're doing this once, and it was this. I promise you, we're doing completely live. And no background sweeteners. Usually sometimes people have background sweeteners, so when you're dancing, you don't hear, every little thing I do. So it doesn't sound like that. But we didn't have it, so we were doing full on a cappella, straight up, so we're rehearsing it over and over and over again. So we're in the bathroom, in our dressing room. The security, outside our door. Nobody comes in the room. Paul Simon walks in the bathroom. What? And we just stop. Sorry, young people, if you don't know who Paul Simon is. Simon and Garfunkel, if you don't know, Sound of Silence, yeah, there we go. Graceland, he's awesome, that album is fantastic. Anyway, he literally stands there, and we just turn around and look, and he's folding his arms, like, no, no, no. He goes, keep going, that's why I came in here to listen. I was like, this is awesome, is Paul Simon listening to sing? And he literally was like, it's really good, guys. And then walked out. I was like, that was it. It was like the ghost of Christmas vocal past. I was like, oh, what the hell that was? But that was weird and surreal. The other one where they told us, we were, sometimes, been very blessed as far as the height of our career and what we were doing. There were so many things getting thrown at us, and so many people wanted us to do so many different things. We literally were picking and choosing because it was so hard to fill up, because our schedule was ridiculous. It really was. And no, I'll never do that kind of ridiculous, vigorous thing ever again. Now that we're older, we can pace ourselves because we are good and we have social media. But they were telling us that, like, hey, listen, Disney has this new cartoon out. We're doing it's Tarzan. You've seen the movie, but they're doing a cartoon Tarzan, and Phil Collins is doing the soundtrack. And I guess Rosie O'Donnell played Turk, whatever the monkey's name is. I forget his name. Turk is his name. So he does this song called "Trash in a Can," which is all kind of like banging on stuff and singing. So they said, that he would love for you to do kind of a rendition of that for the album. I'm like, oh, that's cool, yeah, He's like, yeah, you just go in there, we'll get the parts and everything, and you guys can improvise. So, okay, great. Didn't think anything of it, of just going in the studio, recording it, not even knowing or thinking that he wasn't going to be there. I had no idea. We walked in, and there's Phil Collins. Hey, Phil. Nice to meet you. And he's like, yeah, we're going to do this, and all right, we're going to have this, and this is great. And then he comes in the booth with us, because he wanted different times where we were singing things individual, but then as a group to make that round sound, all of us went in there and sang our parts, obviously live, in the booth with all the microphones. So he comes in, he stands there next to us, and I'm like, and Lily was like, what do you think? He's like, oh, I'm gonna sing it with you guys. I'm like, serious? I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And it's, again, one of those surreal moments where people that you look up to and you listen to and you've watched when you were a kid, you're standing in a room in a booth with them, being creative with that person. It's one of those weirdest moments, and they're kind of, they're your peers in that sense. But it's weird because me growing up during that time and looking up to people and performing with Celine Dion and performing with, Aerosmith, performing with Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, it's one of those things where you're like, what am I doing here? This is surreal. But then when the years go on and all the younger people like Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, all these people that actually watched us, now the roles are reversed. It's completely weird. When we did the MTV Awards with Justin a few years ago, if you blink, you might miss the performance of us, because it was only 2 seconds with his 15-minute performance. But, greedy son of a, but that's another story. But it was really cool, but it was almost like we died and then rose from the heavens. Because people were like, they were in awe because they would never expect that, because they obviously didn't think we were ever getting back together, and rightfully so, but just because everybody's busy. But that's to answer your next question. No, we're not getting back together yet. I would say never, but who knows? But anyway, it was surreal, and I remember walking by in a hallway, and it was Drake and his whole entourage. And as he walked by, he literally stopped in his tracks, and literally was emotional. I was like, hey man, I enjoy your work. He passed by people. Hey man, I love your work. He's like, no. He stopped. He's like, no. Thank you. And I'm like, what did I do? He goes, no, dude, I watch all your stuff. I'm like, yeah, NSYNC. He's like, no. I watched you in Little Shop on Broadway. I saw you do Rent on Broadway. He started naming all these things that I did, and I was like, really, dude? He was like, yeah. He goes, it's serious. I was like, okay. I was like, there's no mad respect. And then he walked away. I was like, that was cool. It's my boy Drake. So yeah, those are my fun stories. All right, I can talk forever.
I'm still thinking, like, unofficially of Phil Collins being like the 6th member of NSYNC and like matching you guys in denim jumpsuits.
That would be amazing. He's very short though. How you doing?
What's your name?
Hi, my name's Erin. I told my friend Kristen, first of all, that I would wish you a happy New Kids on the Block day.
Happy New Kids on the Block Day.
And
Who cares? I'm kidding. You're a blockhead?
Yes.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
It is not. So my question in that vein is, I really liked the Fairy Boy Band Christmas. Are there plans to do it again?
Yes, there are plans to probably do another one. It's so cheesy. I love it because people are like, well, that's really cheesy. That's the point. Not hiding anything here. I mean, the idea and the concept honestly was let's bring back the old school kind of, back in the day, variety shows like Carol Burnett and stuff like that. Maybe we didn't do any skits, but there was little buttons in the beginning and the ends of the commercials. But it was all about the performance, And even the outtakes was just so funny because you could tell Wanye was like, man, this is cheesy as hell. Because him and Sean are standing there looking out the window and it snows, and the song is called "Let It Snow," what they're about to sing. And then one of the outtakes, he looks at Sean, he goes, I feel a song coming on, brother. Because that's how cheesy, but that's what it was, And people were just like, what is going on? Because the very beginning of it, it's me, Juan, doing this original song, singing about that, dude, you're a boy band. I was like, no, we're not. And he had this whole, and it was actually really funny because we had a whole conversation, a real conversation one day about that, where, you're vocal, but no, but you're a boy band, bro. You are. You dance, you sing. You're a boy band. So, and again, it was great to get all those people, and obviously a lot of times when people pitch things like that, there's no proof of concept. So a lot of celebrities are like, man, I don't want to do that, I'm too good for that. And we go, you know what, fine. So we literally asked almost every boy band who ever wanted to come, please come, we'll figure it out. And you know, we had a lot of people come out, which is great. I think next year we'll probably have a lot more, I would assume, and we'll see what we do with this one. Who knows, you know?
Yay, that's awesome.
Thank you. Maybe we'll get Donnie. Joe was in it. Joe sang with his kid, that's right. How's it going?
Hey Joey, how you doing?
Fabulous. Good to see you again.
Sam, this is my wife Missy. At least until she leaves with you.
Sorry.
We recently saw your skit you did on the Eric Andre show, and we were wondering what was that experience like, and did you know what to expect?
I had no damn clue. That was so random. If you ever see Eric Andre, you know who he is? Yeah. He has a show. It's on Adult Swim, right? It's Adult Swim? Yeah, right. And it's a talk show. And he doesn't tell anybody what's really gonna happen. And he gets really good celebrities. And I sat down with this guy. And it's funny because I even met him almost a year or so before that through Alfonso Ribeiro. He was actually at his wedding. And I met Eric and I never knew. And then later on, completely after even the show was done shooting, he goes, oh, and he didn't want to say it before or during. It was after the fact. He's like, yeah, I met you before. I was like, well, yeah. I was like, you look familiar. You got the fro, dude. Yeah, that's right. So I sat down to do a talk, and all of a sudden this whole food cart comes out as he's asking me questions. And then he just starts eating his crab legs and everything. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'm gonna do this with him. And as he's talking, he's going, so anyway, and he pretends like he's throwing up, and I'm like, all right, I'll do that too. A woman comes out, gets on her knees, takes my shoes off, and starts rubbing my feet. As we're trying to do an interview, right before that, I think a motorcycle comes through the whole friggin', it was the weirdest shit I've ever seen, sorry kids, in my life. But it was fun, I will say that. But yeah, he's a random dude like that when it comes. He's like shock value, but it was one of the craziest, if you ever see any episodes, I think it was it Mike Tyson or somebody got mad and walked out. Somebody didn't know what the heck was going on. I was like, I'm out of here. I can't remember, it might have him or somebody else, I can't remember, it was hilarious. But yeah. Can I answer any question?
Yeah.
Okay. It was weird, I had no clue, yeah.
You handled yourself well.
Thank you. Hey, I try. You know, you gotta have fun. You know, you gotta let things roll off. You know, sometimes people are too serious. Stay on the serious side. You're welcome.
And he did great on Impractical Jokers.
He did. No, oh my gosh, he's awesome with that stuff. He did a Netflix special, I believe, that's very a hidden camera thing, where there was one part where I'm promoting him, where he was cleaning, I think, a car service, and the vacuum sucked up his whole outfit. And he was butt naked. And the guy's trying to cover him up, and he's just getting any way to try to cover him up, and he just keeps running around, butt naked. Butt naked. Butt. That's how you say butt naked? What is this? That's bullshit. Sorry. That's what it is. Oh, you said it. So I love that. I wish I could learn how to sign. It's so cool.
Something? Can you teach us something that we?
I just did. I showed you. What are you teaching me? What? Oh. No, teach me something good, not dirty. No.
How do you say my big fat Greek wedding?
Oh gosh, it's gonna be long. She just did it.
She has to spell it out.
Here, I'll show you. My wedding.
Perfect. You're hired.
What are you gonna teach me? My
Big, fat Greek wedding.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm gonna learn that now. Thank you. Thank you. You got it? I don't want to screw it up. I feel like I'm gonna do it. That's fantastic. I love that. Well, thank you guys for coming. I appreciate you.
What's your name?
My name is Mari Kit, and my question is, I just showed my daughters the movie Turning Red, which you haven't seen yet. Features boy bands very...
Oh, I've seen bits and pieces of it. Okay.
Yeah, very nostalgic. Ever in a million years, when you were a member of NSYNC, do you think you were going to be part of this cultural touchstone that changed the world forever?
No, it was amazing that they called us up and gave us a crap load of money just to put their song in the trailer. Seriously, they called up. I think they did Backstreet. They did ours. They put our songs. They were in the trailer when they were promoting it. And all of a sudden, all these people were like, "Oh my gosh, you got to see it!" And it's funny how they grabbed pretty much clips of boy bands, especially the one where we're flying in the air for sailing. And I remember because it's JC's leg, JC, his legs are crossed and his arms are up, like JC. But when he flew, they do the same thing. That's in slow motion of the 4 boys, I guess, in that group. And there's a couple of different things like that. It's so funny that they do that. It's really cool. It's weird. It's surreal. You know what I mean? That people emulate that, or you'll see somebody dress up like myself, or even like a group, and then has red hair with it. You're kind of like, that's pretty cool and weird all at the same time. But it's great. Like I said, it's like for me, growing up listening to, no lie, New Kids on the Block. I was a huge New Kids on the Block fan, and I didn't tell anybody because people thought it was taboo, or like, hey, you like boy bands? Oh, you're a sissy. And I was like, well, guess what? I am. Yes. And the reason why I say, do you see how many girls are in the audience for the concert? I'm not stupid. So it was one of those things where, I literally would go over for my friend's house, this girl, Deborah, and I'd go over her house and I'm like, listen, where's that videotape you got of New Kids on the Block? And yeah, seriously, my audition songs, the song that I auditioned for Mickey Mouse Club back in the day was Step by Step. Step by step, ooh baby.
I hope you put that part in there too, of course.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do.
All right, we got time for a few more. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Sydney, and my dad was nervous and wanted me to come up here and ask a question.
Wow, great job, Dad.
So he wanted to know, how hard was it to be in Dancing with the Stars?
You know what? I know my left from my right. That was the good part about it. I knew how to kind of dance, but I never knew frame, posture. No one was really critiquing me with NSYNC in the sense of, oh, you're doing that wrong and your bum is out. No, this and that. No, I had no idea. But it was hard as it went on. And I know even now, like the seasons, they've even got more difficult. But also on top of that, I think, sorry to say, but I think they lost the luster of it as it kept going because they made it bigger and bigger and bigger and production value. But guess what? The main focus of the whole show is the celebrity and the partner. Can the partner teach the celebrity how to dance? Not whose other person's dancing in the back. Let's have a big car, which they did for me, which was stupid. Put out on the floor from Back to the Future. We'll dance around and go back in time. It's weird that they did that, but back in the day, it's season 4. They literally, I would beg them to even put a chair on the stage, and they almost didn't allow me to do it. Because it was all strictly about the dancing. And it was difficult because it was just things that I've never had my body. It was teaching an old dog new tricks in a sense. Because it's all about framing. I've never really danced with a woman like that, and you're like pretty close. Like ridiculously close. So they made fun of me. If you ever see the season, I'm literally standing there and the girls dance with me and I'm like this. And the guy's like, your bum is out. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to violate the woman. And Max, Marshme, whatever his name is, Max, my boy Max, I will say it as cleanly as I can. He says, give her your pee-pee. What does that mean exactly? And to no lie, I was doing this, and the whole posture changed when you did this, and you bent down, and you went in. So your legs are locked in with the other woman, and it's between, but it's weird. But that's the way, and the framing looks a lot better instead of this. So
you invented your own ballroom style.
Yeah, it gave a whole new meaning to the word ballroom. That's ridiculous. Trust me, you get need sometimes. I got stepped on my elbow. There's no shame in anything when you're dancing with a partner. Seriously, because people are falling, you're grabbing parts that you shouldn't, and you're nervous. You don't want to, but you don't want to drop her on her head. So you end up like grabbing her like butt because she fell. It's weird. It's weird. It's all weird. But to get that look and to get that frame, you have to do these kind of things, and that's kind of what it was. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
What's your name?
Hi, my name is Lupe. It's such a pleasure to have you here, Joey.
Thank you
so much. My favorite song is You Got It from the first album, and my question is, what are your thoughts on people who make music on software opposed to instruments?
As far as like more digital stuff is what you're saying, like?
Yes.
You know what? I think it's great, but it's creative. It's a different outlet. For instance, I mean, you got T-Pain, who does auto-tuning. The dude can sing, like sing without autotune. And people thought he couldn't sing because he used autotune, but he used the autotune in a creative way. He used it in a way with him to have this kind of sound that he wanted, and that's like kind of his signature sound. You know, am I agreeing with the auto-tuning when someone sings flat or sharp? No, I'm old school. You record it again until you get it right. Sometimes I'm like, no, we'll fix it. No. I want to do it again. So we try. That's kind of the old school mentality of me of doing that stuff. But I'm all for stuff that's definitely synthesized and looped and stuff like that. Why not? Because that's being creative. You know, Ed Sheeran did it. You know, even though he does play a guitar instrument, but I don't even think he's classically or kind of like trained. He just played, you know, and he learned how to do stuff and make loops. But I'm all for it because then it brings a different sound and stuff. You know, I'm all for it. I don't think it's bad. You're welcome.
All right, well, we have time for one more question.
One more question.
What's your name?
My name is Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
Hi. So I met you the other day with my cousin, and I was telling you the story about my poster and pastor's wife coming over. So hearing your stories that other people have asked today, it has made me want to ask the question, what is one of your either weirdest stories from a fan or weirdest interactions, like whichever, because it seems like you're sharing a lot of like funny, crazy, weird stories in general, and now I can't resist asking.
So you want to know about fans?
Yeah.
Oh, some of you guys are crazy. We were on tour one time, and we were all doing the number, It Makes Me Ill. At the end of it, it has like the charging thing. It's like clear, and it's like beep, beep, like the heartbeat, and then we die.
Yeah.
Whatever. So we go beep, 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 and we slowly just kind of freeze. At that moment, crazily enough, we're doing it, and we're going beep, beep, and I turn, and there's a girl standing on the stage right there. In the middle of the stage, like, how the heck did she just appear? A lot of people had no clue how, and we all were like, what the heck is this? And all of a sudden, of course, security grabbed her and pushed her off. But we're thinking about, how did she get there and nobody saw her? This crazy woman. They have the tech ladders for lighting back in the day. They still do spotlights. And those spotlights, like say for instance a rig like that up top, but really big, and there's a guy that sits in there and uses a spotlight. Well, there's a tech ladder, which is a very thin, wavy ladder that doesn't have a lot of give to it. You know, arena, you see the floor, and you see the one tier and then the two tier. On the second tier, she decided to go grab the ladder and climb down onto the stage from the second tier of the arena, of the arena. She could have killed herself. And it's like, what do you do? Like, it's just, people just don't, I don't want you to get hurt. That's happened. We've had girls one time where we're walking in the hallway and all of a sudden security goes, so stop for a minute. What? It's like, hold on a second. Usually they check our rooms. I know I heard a story that AJ, some girls were in his room, happened to get in his room before he was even there. It was like hiding in the shower. But one time there was a room service tray at the table, and it was against the wall. And it was hilarious because all of a sudden it was like cigarettes at the table. There was a curtain, it was about this tall, and we're walking, and he goes, stop. And I go, what? He goes, get out. And there were two girls underneath the thing, and I was like, jeez. So yeah, you guys do some crazy things, yeah.
And now they can just come to conventions and meet you and not have to.
And then you can come and hide under my table if you want. Pretend. It's so silly, but hey, you know what? Some people, some fans, they want to meet you, they want to say hi. And back in the day, it definitely was just difficult because, you know, we were younger, we were just getting swept around everywhere. We were just very busy. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Well, Joey, we're at time, so any final thoughts you want to leave us with here?
No, thank you guys so much. You guys have been awesome. Kansas City's been wonderful. The hospitality's been amazing. So thank you guys for being out here and coming out and seeing myself and all the other people that are here. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys.